I know Chigs is in here recording. So.
No Chid Smooth in here, right? So whatever you say,
you know Chid gonna have everything up there.
Whatever you say, Chid's gonna be on YouTube with it, man.
The Super Bowl was last night, and not very soon into it were people ready for the Kendrick Lamar halftime, because it wasn't even close. It was a full-on whooping. It was like the Chiefs were still in the preseason and the Eagles were firing on all cylinders. They were doing what they wanted. So by the time halftime came, it seemed like that was the actual reason we were all gathered. Kendrick would not disappoint, and a lot of people would give their take on it, with some liking the performances, but preferred other songs were also performed at the time, while some people aimed their criticisms at those around the performance, not necessarily Kendrick himself, like Jay-Z and even Serena Williams. So kind of a mixed reaction, but even Drake's people and Young Money would take the time out to watch the Super Bowl. What's up, y'all? It's your man Talkers World Report for the Chick Smooth channel. We gotta talk about this. So as we start off, here's Chubbs and Drake's people watching the performance and not necessarily looking too happy. But at least they had a great view. It was almost like they were at the game. But someone who was at the game and couldn't believe his ears was Tyga. As you see here, I can't play because of the music in the background, but this was the exact moment that the crowd chanted A minor, which clearly shocks Tyga as he looks straight to the camera and says, "Wow." Almost like, I can't believe they just did that right now. Did you think he was gonna perform this song? Let me know in the comment section. And before we get into what Charlamagne, Envy, and The Breakfast Club hoped the performance would be, here's Deion Sanders giving some support to Kendrick Lamar, saying, "God bless you, my brother. That's the way you do you. We are proud of you, man. You represented us well." With the caption, "Ladies and gentlemen, we don't have to put one brother down to appreciate another. God bless you, Kendrick Lamar. You did that. Now we can all walk in love, respect, and forgiveness." Do you think Drake, after hearing that at the Super Bowl, is in any mood for love, respect, and forgiveness? But that wouldn't be the only celebratory post, as Boosie gives a little bit of a mixed reaction. He doesn't want to pick any sides. He tweets, "And I'm siding with nobody, just speaking facts. I'm a Scorpio, I don't take betrayal good at all. I be in my feelings. Congratulations to Kendrick Lamar, good performance, but Louisiana had enough artists to do their own lineup. I'm gonna say it. If the Super Bowl was chosen based on the artists that live in that city or state, then maybe Boosie would have a better point, but it's not chosen that way, so it doesn't really matter what artists are from that city." But then Boosie reflects on how Drake must feel seeing all of this play out, saying, "Just imagine how Drake feel after boosting so many artists' careers with his features, and those same people ain't got nothing to say positive about this dude. That's weak as hell to me. On God, if I was Drake, nobody could ever get another feature from me." Serena giving Heartbroken by Drake vibes. And Boosie wouldn't be the only one to call out Serena, as Charleston White would say, Kendrick Lamar halftime performance was BS. But the weirdest thing about his performance was seeing Serena on stage crip walking, knowing her sister was killed by the Crips, and she's married to a pink-toe white man is what he's saying, it's white man. I knew it was gonna be a lackluster performance, even though Serena having a small part of the performance was a surprise to everyone, except for Charleston White. He saw it coming. He knew she was gonna be the surprise guest for 10 seconds, which completely threw off the entire performance. Charlamagne the God, DJ Envy, and The Breakfast Club disagreed with each other, as Envy thought he had to perform Not Like Us. Charlamagne didn't think so, and if he was gonna perform that song, he should have kept the theme going and only performed that third verse that references the slave trade in America, because his entire performance was about Black America, which theme-wise Charlamagne liked. But he wanted to hear more high-energy songs, and since it was an unapologetically ultra-Black performance, he wanted to hear songs like Black and the Berry, Money Trees, and All Right. He didn't want to hear Baca and these people be name-dropped, not at the Super Bowl. Envy thought Kendrick should have stayed away from the disses entirely, and wanted him to rely more on his hit records. Did Kendrick spend too much time focusing on Drake?
I just did not want to hear Baca, Chubbs, and Party's name on stage at the Super Bowl.
It's a diss record. That's probably one of his biggest records ever. He had to do it. He had to.
No, he didn't.
He had to.
He didn't have to.
I think he did. That's his biggest record ever.
It don't matter. Kendrick is bigger than records.
And I think everybody was waiting for him to do that. That's a big song. And for people that don't know about the dissing and all that, they just like the song and they not like us. They don't know it's a diss record. They just, look at it as a competition record.
Saying he had to do it is a debate I've been having for the past couple weeks. He didn't have to do it.
He absolutely positively had to do that.
He's Kendrick Lamar. He's a Pulitzer Prize winning artist.
That's true. That's cool. He had to do that song.
He didn't have to do it.
He would have looked scary if he didn't, but we got to wrap up.
No, he wouldn't have.
We can come back and bring this back.
As black as he was it last night.
And then Azealia Banks would take to Twitter to call Drake her hero. And we'll get into how it's such a great thing that Drake is suing UMG. She would also call for there not to be nepotism when choosing the performers of a Super Bowl. Someone would say, Kendrick looked right at the camera and really said, "Say Drake," to which Azealia responded to saying, "How is he allowed to allude to that at the Super Bowl? They banned Janet Jackson for a boo and MIA for a middle finger, but we can joke about P at the Super Bowl?" Someone else will say, Kendrick just used the biggest milestone of his career to try to humiliate Drake. He's pathetic. To which Azealia responded to, "Thank you." And now somebody else will respond to Azealia saying, "Yo, this, like, we know it's a lie, but like, what if there was a victim out there? Short people are Lucifer incarnated." To which Azealia would elaborate and even call Drake her hero. So now that we all agree it's a lie, I'm perched to see how the UMG defamation case plays out. So sorry, but Drake having the balls and the coin to sue UMG, he's my hero. You know how many artists dream of having that kind of power? As much money as the majors steal and how they mess with lives? People saying I'm riding Drake, and I'm completely fine with that. Him actually standing up to the beast is beyond boss. He's harder than every rap nigga in history for that. I don't care. You don't have to agree with everything Azealia Banks has to say, but if we do all agree that it was a lie, is Drake justified to sue UMG? Unless you don't believe it's a lie. Let me know in the comment section if you actually believe everything that's been said throughout the rap war. But Azealia Banks wouldn't be done. She would also give support to Lil Wayne, saying Wayne would have had that place on fire just off the catalog alone. I would have loved to hear Canon. As much of a mixtape Lil Wayne fan as I am, or Lil Wayne in general, I don't know if that would make for a great Super Bowl performance today. 10 years ago? 15 years ago? Of course. Today? I don't know. But what do you think? Let me know in the comment section. Someone responds to Azealia saying, Wayne would have been a huge moment for the culture and Louisiana. They fumbled real hard. To which Azealia Banks blames Jay-Z, saying Jay being a typical hater as usual. And she will continue the lip syncing, the bell bottoms. Please, not another urban act at the Super Bowl next year. For crying out loud, Jay-Z. We don't want to see any more of your friends and family up there. The nepotism and hating is boring. That would have been such a fire Weezy performance. Y'all could have had Kendrick do this at the Grammys. Please, no more nepotism. It's played. Now, I don't exactly know what she means by urban because she's calling for a Lil Wayne performance. Would a Lil Wayne performance not be urban? What exactly does she mean by urban? We can't tell from these tweets, but it seems like Plies will be directly responding to her. Now, he isn't responding to her directly, he's speaking generally, but what he says seems to apply. Quote, I will no longer be rooting for anybody who doesn't claim their, quote, blackness. You on your own effing with me. If you one of them people who trying to tell Kendrick what he should have done differently, all you gotta do is get your own halftime show performance. And you can do it exactly how you want to do it. It's really that simple. So did you enjoy the performance? Do you think Jay-Z does have too much power in choosing who gets to perform at the Super Bowl? And moving forward, would you like to see artists from the state that's hosting the Super Bowl perform at the Super Bowl? Let me know in the comment section. Peace.
People have been asking me, like, what did you think of the Kendrick halftime show? And I really loved the show. It was my favorite halftime show since, like, a Michael Jackson era, which I kind of just barely remember. I just be seeing clips of it. And it was super simple. The flag was fresh when they did Be Humble, the way that people's heads was moving. But I was just like shook. This is like super fresh, right? The man's voice control, all that. And you know, of course, they built up the controversy on whether he's gonna do the record. And then at the end, I saw people saying like this is the worst halftime show. And I'm just like, everybody I know that I talked to in real life said this is the best halftime show. And so this is my point right here. When I say one man's in jail, one superstar, one black superstar is in jail. The next black superstar is on stage. They take one rapper to take another rapper down. You gotta remember, watch this. It's like Drake was almost like the new generation R. Kelly. The way R. Kelly had the radio and the smash, all that type of stuff. And then the idea that was put out in the Kendrick song is what R. Kelly is actually locked up for. Now, this information is out here. This could be used, right? And, you know, they give Kendrick everything. He wins everything. Then he does this amazing Super Bowl commercial. I mean, not commercial, I'm sorry. 40 and slip shout out, go to easy.com. I didn't do that on purpose, bro. he does this amazing Super Bowl performance, and right after they say it's the worst Super Bowl performance. And I'm like, yo, this is what I've been saying. They use black people against each other, and when they're done with what their agenda is, they're going to kick you out. That's my perspective on it.